cresci, vou deixar sua bunda ardendo, vou dar tapa, 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 pra caralho.
Welcome to Empowerment Unleashed Now, exploring your inner authority. I'm Michelle Jones.
And I'm Scott Collins.
And this is the place to connect with your highest, most essential self, your most empowered self, where you can explore your inner authority and learn from others and learn more about yourself.
We talk with fascinating people from all walks of life about transformation, healing, hypnosis, astrology, physical experience of being human, and heart-centered living.
We're so thankful that you're here with us. Let's dive right on in. Yeah, so we just want to chat with you today because, Bruce, you have so much to say and so much to offer. And I think that one of the main messages that Scott and I have really been kind of banging the drum about from an empowerment standpoint has been the heart and the connection to the heart and to our breath and to kind of the smart ass, as we call it, pardon, and the dumbass sometimes, but how the interface of all of those kind of happen. And I think that being the mom of a Gen Zer who is very aware of a tragedy that occurred in this nation yesterday, a brutality, no matter what team you play for. As I always say, I play for Team Red, White, and Blue. I've never been a red or a blue team. I've kind of been a purple gal myself. And yeah, people's hearts are hurting. So I just wanted to personally, before we get rolling, thank you so much for being here today. The timing could not be more divinely inspired. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the intro. Where are you guys located right now?
Scott,
Nashville.
where are we today?
Tennessee, the center of the universe.
Nashville. Awesome.
Nashville, yeah.
Yeah. We're in Nashville.
The heart of the United States.
Pretty much.
Geographically, yeah.
Pretty exactly. Geographically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know, Bruce, if you, but I'm sure that he's in your awareness, but I don't know if you know him, Sadhguru. But Sadhguru, who is an Indian mystic, yogi.
Oh, Sadhguru. Yes, yes.
Sadhguru, yeah. Pardon me.
No, it's good.
My Southern betrays me a bit. Sadhguru. So in Cookville, just up the road from us, you know, he has the largest meditation center in North America. It's 40,000
no, I didn't.
square feet. Yeah.
Wow.
So he feels like this is, you know, like an intersect of sorts with ley lines and the East and the West and the North and the South and all that good stuff. So
with some rock and music.
That too.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And you and Scott definitely could share, and I hope that y'all do in this, you know, journey today that we take together, some music and just some talents that y'all have in common that I don't have in common with you guys. I'm just a real appreciator and a cheerleader for all artists.
Beautiful. Artists need more cheerleading.
Yeah.
It's so ironic how much we are inspired by art, by music, and how little we still value it, except for the megastars, which are ridiculously popular. But just in everyday life, you know, the lack of real appreciation of art and music. I'm sure it feels a bit different in Nashville.
It does. It does.
We're still honored, but
yeah.
Culture, in the culture as a whole. I mean, I'm drawn to places. I'm a New Yorker originally. I love the city because every conceivable art form is done at an incredibly high level there, right? If you can pick anything, name anything, you got brilliant ones there. LA kind of similar. Never spent any real time in Nashville, but I love the cities in this country that really honor the arts and are meccas for artists.
Yeah,
it's like I think it's more important than we realize, and it's going to get more important because where can we all connect? Not politics, not religion, music, the heart, love.
Yeah, I concur. Creativity is that intersection, and it's also like the essence of our individual beings. So we can even expand that art. I mean, obviously, music's one of the most profound ones because it's vibrational and affects us in that way. And left and right brain, it's one of the rare things that does that. But the essence of our being, the essence of the universe is to create and expand, right? So we must individually find a way to do that. Find something. Obviously, painting is art. Music's art. There are art things that we all think of as art, but there are other things that can become art if we allow it to be.
I'm with you, man. Totally.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's very important right now. I agree. It's like important for like our consciousness shift to like be very expressive and creative, and that's the way through, not around or avoiding like straight through it.
I think one of the most powerful art forms that have been lost that really are being rebirthed with podcasts is the art of conversation.
Mm-hmm.
The art of conversation, of civilized dialogue done respectfully and lovingly, no matter what you're met with in terms of opinion from the other side or other sides, right? To view conversation as learning and not as a place of a right or a wrong, and to really engage in the creation of maybe an exchange that, I don't know, expands you in a way that it didn't, 10 minutes ago. Like, as a conversational hypnotherapist, to me, that's some of the expansion that I think that those of us that might not have the same gifts and talents, as folks that are musician or, painters and stuff, that we can just learn the art of speaking with one another again by putting our heart into it, right? That to me was part of my definition growing up, because I'm the unusual child that is the parent of two, had two parents that were artists, and I'm a child that really didn't recognize her artistic side because I came from a sculptor and a brilliant textile designer.
Oh, wow.
And so they had noteworthy art and did really cool things. And I would say that visually, right, I probably could have gotten into interior design. I love that. But it's I think we have to bring art back because it just speaks to the heart, even if it's the art of getting dressed every day. If it's the art of making breakfast for your children, but you're making it in such a beautiful way that it's going to be like the fluffiest eggs ever. And, you're going to make this beautiful design with a strawberry that's a flower. There's so many opportunities to create. And I feel like in a way, we've just kind of become devoid of that because there was so much just ick surrounding us in the last 5 years in particular, And so art to me is just, my gosh, it's life. Yeah. So thank you guys for putting your art out in the world, because if ever there were a time that we need things that just unconsciously speak to our heart, it's art, music, literature.
I love everything you just said, and I could talk for easily an hour on each one of those sentences you just expressed. But relative to putting art out, I've found, because I started out as a trumpet player at 8, did not think of myself as creative. At 17, a teacher discovered that I had a decent voice, gave me the lead in the high school musical, gave me the lead. I did not audition. 2 years later, I had the lead role in the longest running musical in the world in New York City called The Fantastics. I had now become a dancer and a singer and an actor, still didn't consider myself creative. I had a whole lovely career doing all that, even had a small art business in New York City, still didn't consider myself creative. It wasn't until I got sick with cancer 16 years ago. I'm 16 years cancer free, by the way. It's all good news. But it wasn't until that happened. And then in the treatments for the cancer, I had staph infection in my blood, which is life-threatening. 15 years staph infection free. All of this was tearing down my body, and the arthritic hips were getting worse and worse and worse. My mother passed away from 10 years with Alzheimer's. And I realized I needed to go ahead and get hip surgery. I couldn't for a while because they weren't going to operate on me with the staph infections. So, but finally I was clear enough that they decided to do that. And once I had those hips replaced, a process unfolded where I rediscovered my creativity. I felt the urge to sing again. I discovered I could actually dance on titanium hips and dance at a level that people look at me and then hear my age, not even knowing I've got titanium hips. And like, dude, damn, you got some moves. Yeah, yeah. The titanium hips really help, actually. What? No, there's no way you got titanium hips. So I had the fun of all that, but my creativity kind of went crazy at that point. And finally, I'm like, yes, I'm creative. I'm creative to the core, and so is everyone else. I happen to have a few creative gifts that are public, so I and others who have public gifts are seen as the creatives. Wrong. The single mom with 3 jobs to raise the 3 kids, that's one creative motherfucker. Pardon my language, but you know what I mean? I mean, how do they pull that off if it's not creativity born out of love? But it's not a poem or a song or a dance, but it's just as creative. And I ended up creating a course on creativity at the request of Stanford, which I've been teaching for 8 years now, all around the same idea you just expressed, Scott, that we are made of creativity. And I say to people, look, designed into your freaking DNA is the power to create another life. And whether you were ever involved in that or not, I don't care. It's not my business. And it's not, that's not the point. The point is you're made of creative stuff. And the act to procreate is only one subset of creativity. In fact, our challenge and our great gift is the fact that we get to keep creating our life, and we get to recreate our life when we need to. I completely recreated my life after cancer, staph infections, double hip replacement, my mother passing, my marriage ending, and stepping down as CEO of HeartMath after 11 years in that role. I completely reinvented everything partly because I had the confidence that I'm made of creative energy, and almost lost it. It was kind of edgy there for a while, but I made of creative stuff. So I loved what you said, Scott. And the other thing that you said, Michelle, about the art of conversation, to me, there's multiple levels of it. One is the level of the politics of our time, whether that's healthcare, whether that's actual politics, whether that's fascism, whatever. That's one level of it. But there's a very basic level of it that's really wild to me, and it's generational. And it's the fact that many people that I know, they're in their mid-30s or younger, only are comfortable texting. They are not comfortable talking. They're not comfortable being on camera. They're like doing a video call. They're not comfortable even having phone calls a lot of the time. But it's not just that they're uncomfortable. So that's one facet. They're not comfortable having an actual conversation because they didn't grow up doing that. They grew up with devices. They were on their devices since they were little kids, so many, right? And so it's not like a normal thing for them. Like it's actually scary for a lot. And then on top of that, the fact that we text everything all the time, it puts us in a certain mode of what I call fragmented consciousness. We're in fragments. We're not reading text thoroughly because we're on to the next thing. So we're reading and responding to maybe the last thing said in the previous text. So there's nothing close to coherent communication going on. And yet the younger generation think, well, this is like the ultimate. Oh, I love texting because I can keep a record of it, and there's more heart coming through when we text. I'm like, no, there's not. but I understand why you feel that way because you're not comfortable with other ways of actually expressing your heart. But to me, it's just the speed at which this is shifted because of how we're so digital now and all day, all night, all the time. And so culturally, that's represents a big challenge because, I mean, to get people off their devices and not just off the device, but out of the mindset of fragmented thinking, the attention span of a gnat kind of thinking, and to actually hear and listen and slow down and be able to have any kind of conversation that's meaningful.
Yeah. Well, and also that, I mean, I think regardless of even generation, the thing that's missing from text communication or digital is tone. And, I mean, any actor, you know, you've done the exercise, you given the same line, and then I give you 10 different intentions, and you can say that same line, and it completely affects the person in a different way.
Totally.
So that's why, you know, anything important, I agree. It's like the art of conversation is very uh like critical.
It's
If you want,
integral.
if you, yeah, or if you want to be able to have like a nuanced or complex exchange with somebody. I get text is helpful with some things, but yeah.
It's super great. I
Art's
keep
gone.
reminding people. I said, "Look, I'm not down on texting. Thank God for texting. There's
Yeah.
some people I literally would never have met if it wasn't for the ability to
Yes.
communicate through a text. So, not shooting the entire thing.
Yeah, disclaimer. I get you.
Just like there's a certain point that you.
Today.
Yeah, it's just a certain point. Texting is not even close to doing justice.
Yeah.
But there's this sort of romantic view. Oh, texting is so perfect. I said, no, it's actually lazy. That's why you love it so much. You can do it whenever you feel like it. You don't have to actually engage. You're not actually sharing real time.
So I'm going to be a little bit of an apologist generationally for folks and just talk about like FaceTime, and that, you know, I think soon enough we're going to be sending like holographic messages of ourselves that are actually animated, because I think that emojis, right? Like if you speak to people under the age of 35, they will say like, well, emojis kind of can give an intonation to it and a vibe to it.
I
And,
agree.
you know,
Yeah.
we FaceTime, you know, like just they will FaceTime every single thing, where generationally as a Gen Xer, I'm just like, oh, please don't FaceTime me, child, at 7 a.m. in the morning. You know, but he's used to, you know, I'm going to see my mom at 7 a.m. and that's what a 20 something does. No. So it's very interesting, the connections. And I also think, as an apologist for the young people, that these are the kids, especially in their 20s, the young people, that COVID was very much their introduction out
Absolutely.
into the world. And when you can't even get within 6 feet of somebody to have a conversation, it really could possibly impede some social skills a bit.
Totally.
You know, and I think that those of us that had a lot of years without that, like, I just think to myself, had I entered the world as a 20 something just out of school, you know, in 2020, you know, who would I have become? You know, I wouldn't have been traveling the world. I can tell you that. I wouldn't have been, you know, doing these things that were all kind of, I had this realization about these connective opportunities with human beings by kind of being a free bird and not having to be in school anymore. Right. And so I see our producer Noah's nodding his head along like, yes, Michelle. And, you know, it's an interesting thing. And so I think that communication, especially with artificial intelligence, is rapidly empowering people in many ways and possibly creating some disempowerment and lack of coherence in others. And, you know, being an awareness of what I think the tools are affording us and possibly experientially providing us within ourselves. Does it feel hollow? You know, like I think two Gen Xers, like Scott, you and I have had stuff, bro, where we've been like, you know what? Yeah, we need to powwow, right? Like face to face. I wonder if we were like, you know, 25 and 27, would we FaceTime? You know, would our hearts feel the same connection? Because we're seeing each other. I don't know. Because I can't, you know, I can only speculate.
It's pretty cool that you can do that with somebody in another city, though.
Right.
Yeah, I think there are, you know, framing it somewhat differently. It does present opportunities.
But is the heart connected? Like, what do you think, Bruce? Like, is the heart like in a FaceTime call? I think it is.
It all depends on the heart of the person and the intention of the person. I think, and I'm glad you started apologizing for the younger generation, because I don't mean to be making them bad. to me, they're the product of us. They're the product of my generation, the boomers, who created a lot of this technology in the first place. I mean, I was a huge Steve Jobs fan, and he may be one of the most despicable people in the history of the world. He's made the entire planet addicted through his brilliance and creativity to something we can't get away from. And I think that's kept us in a certain mind band all the time of the stimulus and addiction. We've fallen prey to it collectively. But as people of my generation that were kind of steering the ship there for quite a while, now it's not just boomers, but it's kind of spread out. But I just think about it. I mean, I was with a friend of mine who was over from Dubai. She's an Indian woman, brilliant lady, and been in Dubai for 20 years. And in Dubai, I've not been there. I've not been to Dubai. I just have friends, I've just heard a lot. But there she was with her 11-year-old son. He was not without his digital device in his hands at any moment. Eating, he still had the tablet in his hand and a fork with the other. In the car, constant. And his mother, who is a very powerful lady, not a shy little peach, she never didn't let him do it. It's like, oh man, she was divorced. The husband later committed suicide. All terrible things happened. So probably out of overcare as a mom, we'll let him have his thing. And it was easier for her because she also was working crazy hours. But as a result, a child with virtually no social skills who only can connect to video games. Smart kid, not dumb and not impacted. Oh, the other devices come out the window, but at least you can't hear that either. Good. So the chainsaw has stopped.
Chainsaw stopped.
Now the hedge trimmer is out. So,
yeah. I love it. I love it.
So if suddenly I go, suddenly boom, I'm gone. Just know they probably cut a cord accidentally.
Well, know what happened. Yes. What's been really funny is that in this Virgo season, we have been so out of order because we've had great guests that we've just started taping and we've been okay, let's just keep rolling because it's so good. And Scott, with my stellium and Virgo and my 11-degree Cancerian, do you see how creative I'm being that I'm going to introduce this episode in the middle? Are you proud of me?
Middle and ask him the pressing question.
I'm going to. Right. My improv. Hear her out, bro.
I was like, do I need to do this?
Say jazz. You should be proud of me. Yeah. It's only taken me a year to be like this. Okay. So,
Michelle, I feel proud of you and I barely know you. So just keep going.
Thanks, Bruce. Here we go, guys. Hi, and welcome to Empowerment Unleashed Now, exploring your inner authority. I am Michelle Jones, and I'm here with dun-dun-dun-dun,
Scott Collins. What's up?
And we have the incredible, enchanting, delightful, brilliant Bruce Cryer, truly a Renaissance man who founded and was the CEO of the HeartMath Institute for over 11 years. He's an incredible artist. I probably saw him on Broadway in the 80s in The Fantastics because it was one of my favorite things to do with my friends in New York was to go. We would cut school sometimes and go to the line on Wednesday and get the cheap tickets. Dad, if you're listening, I'm not telling you anything you didn't know. And so today we have been in conversation with Bruce, and he is just such an incredibly fascinating, delightful, and heart-centered being that we just dove right in. So yes, Scott, I'm going to ask my big question of Bruce. Bruce, what are you feeling most empowered about in your life at this time?
What am I feeling most empowered about in my life at this time? That's a great question. And I feel most empowered by my ability to love. Now, I've been on a conscious path to do that for 35, 36 years. So I didn't just start. So I got a little bit of street cred that maybe he's pulling it off. I'm not saying I'm loving all the time. Definitely not claiming that. But when things get challenging on any level, health, physical, financial, relationship, whatever it is, And even if I find myself out of whack, off balance, out of coherence, I know how to get back. And it's through love. And so that is something that no matter how challenging a situation can be, how dark it is, a little voice inside tells me, hey, bro, just love. You know how to do that. Just love. You know how to do that, man. Just love. And then I was like, yes, I do. That I know how to do. I know how to put out love to the world right now, to all the tragedy happening in the world right now, to all the people suffering in the world right now. I know how to do that. I've been practicing that a long time. I do feel empowered by that part of me. So thank you for asking that question.
Well, right on, Bruce, because I mean, like to talk about heart health and human potential without talking about love would be super duper vacuous. You
It
know?
certainly is an aptitude, right, that I think you do cultivate over day by day and grows more and more within us.
Well, and literally, when I agree, and many people hear my background about the Broadway and dancer, singer, all that stuff, and I'll remind them, I wasn't just a fantastic singer one day.
Yeah.
And then I was given a job on Broadway. No. Thousands of hours before I ever got the job, and they continued to have thousands of hours. Same with being a dancer. I was a principal male dancer at 19 with what's now the top rated dance company in the Bay Area. I didn't just suddenly go from being a average baseball player into a high level dancer. That didn't just happen. I had to frickin' practice and practice and practice. And related to love, it's also about practice, because there are all these times in our life that aren't the easy time where you got to do it anyway. Because how are we going to get through this tough moment right now? You and me, girl, you and me, boy, whatever the dynamic is, if not through deeper love. And when I was first during the HeartMath years, and by the way, I'm not the founder. I was one of the original group that was there at the beginning, one of the leaders from the beginning. But there is a gentleman from North Carolina, actually, who is the founder. Doc Childry is his name. But I was CEO for 11 years. All that part is absolutely true. But in the early days, we were literally telling people, start focusing on your heart. I mean, literally focus here. Because it's like, well, how do you get in your heart? Well, start with actually focusing in the area of your heart. You could think of it as the heart chakra or however you want, but just kind of focus here. And when we were starting to teach this, and I was one of the first teachers of the process, helping develop the courses and teach them. And I realized, and this was this is dating myself, but I've already done that. Back when Casio watches came out and they beeped, and they had timers, and you could actually time yourself. It's like, oh my God, this is incredible technology on your wrist. You can actually time yourself on your wrist. It's so cute to think that was, a major technological innovation of the time. But I had one of these watches, a yellow one. And so I would set it to go off on the hour. And every hour when it would beep, I would focus my attention in the heart and just practice breathing and putting out love. And that was whether I was on a phone call, leading a meeting, whatever I was doing, when the beep happened, it was like Pavlov's dog. Start being in your heart, just start radiating love. And that practice became so ingrained in me that I started to notice later on, I would hear something funky or some potential problem. And my energy would immediately just kind of come to my heart. I didn't have to tell myself to do that. It was just a natural come to the heart. Balance, because this could be edgy. This could be a challenge. So anchor yourself first. Stay in a neutral but loving perspective. And so that became kind of an offshoot of this idea of literally a reminder, every hour on the hour, an annoying beep would go off, and oh, there goes Bruce again. Yeah, sorry, I'm practicing loving. I apologize.
It sounds like also that you're implementing like a hierarchy of feelings first and then thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Like the feelings were the alarm, or if the feelings were the sensation, and then the thoughts were just being used to redirect back to the heart.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Empowerment Unleashed Now. Please subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform and let us know how this helped you.
Join us right here every week for another episode.